My work schedule was always different from my wife's. I worked nights while she had a day job in construction management. We'd been together since high school, nearly 25 years now. She only started her career in the last couple years after the kids were older. Before that, she was mainly focused on raising our 3 boys. Things started changing when she began spending more time with her office friends after work. She'd get off at 5, but wouldn't come home until 7 or 8. A few times she stayed out all night, saying she'd had too much to drink and crashed at her friend Sarah's place. This wasn't like her at all. She was usually the responsible one who made sure everyone else got home safe. One night when I was off work, I noticed her checking her phone at 3 a.m. The screen's glow woke me up. She wasn't trying to hide it or angle it away, but something felt off. Then she got up and started getting ready, even though her shift didn't start until 8. When I asked about it, she said she was meeting coworkers for a morning walk before work. She seemed more dressed up than usual for just a walk or work. Not fancy, but definitely put more effort in than needed. She left around 4 a.m. when it was still dark and drizzling, with the temperature in the 40s. Nobody even owns rain gear here since we rarely get bad weather. I texted her later asking if I could borrow her truck to take some stuff to the recycling center. She didn't reply for 15 minutes, then said they were still on their walk, but I could get the truck from her workplace later. My gut was telling me something wasn't right. I'm not great at reading social situations, but the timing, the late-night texting, the early morning meetups, it all felt wrong. I decided to check our phone records and found hundreds of texts between her and a number I didn't recognize. When I confronted her about the phone records, she immediately turned it around and demanded to see my phone. I had nothing to hide, so I handed it over with the password. But when I asked to see her conversations with the unknown number, the texts were mysteriously deleted. I typed in the number and a male coworker's name popped up. She acted shocked when I mentioned knowing about all their texts and that I knew she was with him when she claimed to be on a work trip recently. She kept denying everything and got defensive about why our phone carrier would show so many messages between them. When she stormed off upstairs instead of explaining, I went up and told her I was leaving. I packed a bag and walked out. Later, my friend who works as a detective gave me some advice about confrontations like this. He said guilty people rarely confess fully. Even if they admit to a one-time mistake, they won't tell you about months of ongoing cheating. He told me to start by saying, "I know more than you think I know," without revealing exactly what you know. It's like poker. Don't show your cards. He also warned that phone evidence would likely be deleted since people hide things when they know a confrontation is coming. The key is proving texts and calls are missing by checking carrier records first. Looking at the gaps in communication can tell you when they were likely together in person. The detective was right. My wife followed the exact pattern he described. When I asked for her phone, she deflected by demanding mine. She barely looked through my messages and ignored my photos completely. Her focus was entirely on watching what I was doing with her phone. When I showed her the contact for her coworker and asked where their texts were, she claimed they never talked. I called her bluff and told her they'd exchanged over 900 messages last month alone. She couldn't deny that number but tried saying they were just discussing her wanting a divorce. Even then, she wouldn't admit to anything more. I learned that the best lies mix in some truth. Like when she said she spent 6 hours at a tattoo shop but came home with no sketches or photos. She probably did go there briefly, but spent the rest of the time with him. She gave vague excuses about traffic and running errands, but no real details someone would normally share about their day. I knew I had my own problems in the marriage. Years of working nights had made me irritable, and I probably pushed her away with my temper. I was working on myself and hoped we could fix things. Even though she never admitted to the affair, I was willing to forgive because I knew I wasn't perfect either. She suggested we keep living together for our 2 younger boys, who were both teenagers. At first, I thought maybe there was hope, that she just needed time. When we took the kids out to dinner one night, she was talking and laughing like old times. But then she made a small cutting comment on the way home, like she was reminding herself not to get too friendly. One morning she was gone early again. I had a feeling where she was. I'd found his address and had seen her truck there before. When I drove by, only his truck was in the driveway. She texted asking if we needed garbage bags and other household items. I played along, asking if she was at the store and could grab some coffee creamer. While I was watching, he pulled his truck out, she backed in, and they left together. I went to ring the doorbell, no answer. She texted saying she was at Costco. I called her out, saying I knew that wasn't true. She sent a picture of the Costco building an hour later, trying to prove she was there. When I asked for a photo of her truck in the parking lot, she said she didn't care if I believed her. I told her I understood if she was trying to protect my feelings or was scared of my reaction, but the lies hurt more than the truth. She sent a selfie from inside Costco, but I didn't respond. I felt stuck. I didn't want to abandon my kids again by moving out, but living with someone who kept lying while seeing another man wasn't healthy either. My therapist advised against making any big decisions while emotional, so I stayed. But it got harder watching her tell the kids she was going out with friends at 4 a.m. when bars weren't even open. My youngest, who has autism, would fact-check her stories and catch her lies. It killed me seeing her lose their trust too. I finally saw a lawyer. The consultation was eye-opening. I learned I'd only owe minimal child support with shared custody. She wanted to keep the house but couldn't afford to buy me out or make payments alone. The lawyer said if I wanted to sell, we'd have to sell. I had more savings and investments, but some weren't fully vested yet, so she couldn't claim them. The lawyer suggested using the house as leverage. If I kept paying half until the kids finished school in 5 years, I could protect my savings and still get half the future equity. It seemed fair since the kids needed stability. I hit rock bottom around then. Came home early from work one night and prayed her truck would be there. Prayed she'd have a change of heart. Tried talking to her but got nowhere. I felt pathetic. That Sunday, I told her I'd stay out until my night shift so she could have time with the kids. I sat in my car reading forums and ended up downloading a dating app. Wasn't looking for anything, just scrolling. Then I matched with someone who seemed genuine. We met for drinks that Tuesday. I was honest about my situation since I didn't want to start something new with lies. She'd been cheated on too and understood what I was going through. We kissed when I walked her to her car. For the first time in months, I felt hopeful again. Maybe this was the answer to my prayers, not fixing my marriage, but showing me I could be valued by someone new. Even if nothing came of it, that moment helped me see a future beyond all this pain. My marriage had been struggling for years, if I'm honest. We were both unhappy but too comfortable or scared to end it. The affair forced us to face reality. Sometimes I wonder if I would have cheated too if tempted, but I always kept my distance from other women just in case. The happy memories felt so distant now, like remembering someone who died after a long illness. You start grieving while they're still here, knowing the end is coming. I finally paid for the divorce papers last week. My oldest son, Ryan, who's 23, and I decided to get a place together. He hasn't spoken to his mom since finding out about the affair. The house situation is coming to a head. I'm pushing for a sale since she can't afford it alone and doesn't have enough to buy me out. The divorce cost me $2,500, but it's worth every penny. I've always been good with investments and trading stocks, and now I'll have more flexibility with my money. There's this classic convertible I've wanted for years, but could never justify buying as a married man. Now it's on my list for when everything's settled. Walking out of the lawyer's office felt like a weightlifting. My wife's been trying to act casual, texting about sales at stores or asking when I'll be home. I mostly ignore her messages now. She even wished me fun when I took the kids to the water park. Though honestly, that turned out to be an interesting day with all the single parents there. Then reality started hitting her. She had to surrender her new truck back to the bank. Couldn't afford the $730 monthly payments anymore. My sister told me the guy she's with has gone through 4 marriages, apparently has a habit of using women for money then moving on. Part of me hopes they stay together just until the divorce is final. She's trying to refinance the house, but can't afford it with the truck payment. This actually works for my plan. I told her she could keep the house if she bought me out, but she'd have to give up any claim to my other assets. She wasn't happy about losing access to my savings and investments, but I reminded her she'd get 100% of the house and could do whatever she wanted. Keep it for the kids, move her boyfriend in, whatever. I found a rental house walking distance from our old place, so the boys can easily go between homes. Switch my work shift to help with school transportation too. The divorce agreement is mostly done. I'm getting a bit less than half overall, but my sanity is worth more than money. Plus, my company stocks that haven't vested yet will stay mine, and those could be worth a lot later. My company has been incredibly supportive through all this, even giving me a month of paid leave when I needed it. Since she has a decent job, I won't pay alimony. Child support is minimal with shared custody, and it's only for a few more years until the kids are grown. Sometimes I think about how at 47, I might be able to retire abroad instead of working until 70 like I planned when married. No more expensive houses and things I didn't really want. Living on the other side of the planet from her wouldn't be bad either. Last month, I took some time off and went to Thailand. Met someone online who knows my whole story. Now when I lose sleep, it's not because I'm thinking about the affair. It's because of the 14-hour time difference when we're texting. The final custody arrangement wasn't exactly what I hoped for. I got alternate weekends instead of equal time. But the boys are teenagers now. Most of their big childhood moments are already past. The schedule actually helped me take a travel position at work with good overtime pay. Removed her from my insurance too, saving some money there. I saw her recently when giving her money for one of the boys' medical bills. Felt nothing really. Found out she's having health problems now. Karma has its ways, I guess. I updated my life insurance to remove her as beneficiary. I'm focused on my future now. For anyone starting this journey, yes, you'll have sleepless nights. Yes, you might lose your dignity begging them to stay. Yes, you might need time off work. But you'll survive. I'm living proof that there's better things ahead if you keep moving forward. Just remember, your heart might be broken, but don't let anyone take it away completely. There's someone out there worth being vulnerable for again. She lost her job recently, apparently got fired after reporting harassment. Given her history of workplace relationships, I'm not surprised they didn't believe her. Now she's jobless with car debt and has to sell the house she fought to keep. I know about a good job opportunity that would pay better than her old one, but my therapist reminded me long ago that it's not my job to rescue her anymore. Sometimes you just have to let people face the consequences of their choices. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.